All right, today, little Theo and I are going to check out Treehouse Play Cafe and see if it's a good place for toddler. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Panda with Theo here, and we are at the Treehouse Play Cafe here in Lake Zurich, Illinois, and there might be others around here too, but it's an indoor playground, and while I think it's mostly geared towards older kids, they do have a little toddler section that's going to be perfect for this guy, at least for now. They also sell coffee and some other stuff to keep the adults happy, so let's check it out. All right, the first thing that I will say is that if you are going to go to this place, you will probably want to jump on their website first, because that's where you can fill out the waiver for you and your kid and get that done before you get here. When you walk in, there is a front desk where you will check in and pay for your visit. The visit is $16 per kid, and 2 adults get in for free with each child. Now, one of the hacks here, and I think it's a good deal, if you're going to go more than twice a month, they do have a plan which is $32 a month, and that's unlimited visits per child. So if you are going to be in this area and go a lot, I would definitely recommend getting that. Now, you do have to be in socks, so they do offer cubbies where you can put your shoes for both the kids and the adults. They also have a little cafe, which is part of the name of the facility, and they serve drinks and some snacks and some coffees. And I noticed that that is the really smart side of this business, is offering coffees to the parents that are waiting and maybe a bit bored while they're waiting. And they also offer parties and events. They do have a little area in the back, I'll show you that separately, where it's kind of a private separated room where you can have your birthday celebration. They also offer some food, so it's not just food for kids, but stuff that is decent for parents as well. And they also have Wi-Fi, so if you want to bring your laptop, I'm on my phone out there. And I noticed they have tons of high chairs. There is lots of seating. They were cleaning up when I filmed this, and so there are tables that are missing in this area, but they were put back shortly after they were done mopping up, which is nice to know that they clean up the place regularly. But over by the windows, again, a lot more seating, including a giant oversized rocking chair, and then more tables and chairs. So lots of places for parents to kind of come visit and then hang out with other couples while the kids are playing. Now, I actually think the seating areas are probably one of the best features for the adults. It's very comfortable, and there's more than enough seating for everyone. I would say the big attraction here is the tree house, kind of a jungle gym on top of a tree-looking structure, and it's pretty big. It's not as big as Kids Empire, but there are big slides and lots of tubes and things that they can crawl up. There's actually a flat slide on one end and then one of those circular tubular slides on the other end. Then around the corner, around the back, behind kind of a half wall, this is the party area. So lots of seating there. So if you're having a birthday party, a special event for your kids, that's where that would be. And you can set up and bring some of your own things and party favors and set up there. There's also bathrooms on the side where there were more high chairs. And then over here, next to the treehouse area, but separated, is the area for toddlers, 3 and under. No shoes, food, or drink allowed. And what I really actually liked about this is that there is a fence around it and the door locks. So in Kids Empire, there is no door. It's just an opening. And so the kids can kind of roam freely in and out of there. So this gives me a little more comfort that your toddler is going to be corralled in the toddler area and not necessarily be able to get out of there. So if you are a parent that maybe is sitting down, having coffee, working on your laptop, maybe chit-chatting with some of your friends, and you're not paying close attention sometimes, you know your kid is still going to be corralled in there. So that's kind of one of the nice things. Now, I will say that the toddler section is maybe not as big as Kids Empire. There isn't quite as much to do here. I would call it 70 or 80% as big. But there are little tunnels and obstacle courses so that they can run and do that. There is a slide. It's actually a fairly big slide, and it's pretty fast. So they have to climb up one side on the little bump steps, and then they can slide down. There are a number of these kind of vinyl play structures around in the area that they can climb up on and then slide down. So there are some little slides there, especially if your toddler is under 15, 14, 13 months. That's probably where they're going to want to play. But if they are a year and a half to 2 years old, then I think they're going to start enjoying the slide. My toddler is just at the threshold where he is starting to figure out slides and really likes them. Now, most of the time he goes on the ones that are only a few feet tall, but he does like the taller ones, and it kind of freaks me out sometimes because he's not great at balance, and he tries to run up the slide when he gets down to the bottom and sometimes does a little bit of a face plant. Now, I want to talk about safety. All of us are concerned about kids falling, hitting their head, getting injured. It's definitely not impossible to get hurt. You can certainly take a little bit of a tumble, but most of the little attractions here, the little structures, are kind of a thick cushioned mat. They kind of feel like those gym mats that you tumble on. The floor are these kind of foam-like tiles. Now, they're not the softest in the world. I've actually been to mall playground areas that have a much spongier, softer floor, and I think that's even a little bit safer. But in terms of cushioning, it does have a little bit of cushioning. Again, not the softest floors ever, but they're pretty good. You wouldn't want to necessarily take a direct head fall onto the floor. That could probably have you seeing stars, but it is pretty safe for the most part. The structures themselves are nicely covered, so they're covered in this vinyl and foam. Again, not super soft or super plush, but everything has this covering. The other thing I want to mention here, and you can tell in the video, that everything has a bit of an earth tone look to it. So I want to say that instead of like the highly vibrant, bright colors that you would get at some of the playgrounds and most playgrounds, this is much more muted. And I feel like it's kind of appealing to the suburbanite with style. So kind of the higher end crowd that likes a little bit more of those earth tones, a little bit lighter and brighter. And I don't know that that's necessarily ideal for kids, but it's certainly what they provide, and the kids don't seem to mind. But in most playgrounds, you'll probably notice really bright greens, reds, blues, as kids are kind of used to that. But this is just like a little bit more of a chic, upscale color scheme. The thing about this is that if your kids really are younger toddlers, like I said, about 1.5 years or younger, they will probably find it a little bit hard to navigate some of these attractions like the tunnel or this little strap bridge here. But some of the older kids seem to zoom through it very quickly. So if they are 2+, I think they're going to find it pretty easy. But at 1.5 and lower, they're probably going to be a little short and probably not necessarily have the strength that can pull themselves through some of the attractions. So these little structures in the middle are what I think will attract a lot of the younger and smaller kids that don't have, say, the same appetite for the full slide. But it is a great place to go and burn some time. I feel like most toddlers will tire out after about an hour and kind of want to go home, but your $16 buys you access to the entire place for the day. So kind of keep that in mind. And if you want to entertain your toddler or even older kids in the Treehouse section, I think the Treehouse Kids Cafe is definitely a place to check out. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.
We can discover more and explore so much deeper.